Okay, listen, the reason that you can't let go of your old identity is because you think it's optional to hold on to. I know this, I can speak on this because I've been there. That was me. And I feel called to share my story, something that I am in the middle of going through currently that has shown me a physical representation of letting go of the old identity and step into the future. So recently I've been doing a lot of work, inner work, which I feel like I've done that before. I feel like I've been on a journey of self-love, self-discovery, kind of personal development for years now. And I've made a lot of change and transformation. However, at the core of my identity, I think on the surface, I feel like I changed it because, I'm changing habits. I feel different. I look different. I operate differently in my daily life than I used to. And I have let a lot of things go. So I feel like on the surface, I thought that I had changed. I thought that my core story had changed. But recently I've been diving deeper into like doing breath work, a lot of meditations, like guided meditations, which I had meditated before, but like very surface level. I never really sat in it for 45 minutes at a time, maybe longer, and truly like gone to this place of like no time, no space, and come out of it truly feeling positive effects from it. And this breathwork ceremony, it was transformational. It probably sounds crazy to a lot of people, and I don't know who this video really is for, but I imagine it will find the people who are open to a little bit more esoteric topics or open to that sort of spirituality side of things. So this breathwork ceremony didn't really bring me through any trauma necessarily, like specifically, but the only way I can really describe it is that it brought me back to love. Long story short, by the end of it, I had my one hand on my chest and one hand on my stomach, kind of like that yogic breath. I was just practicing, doing my deep breaths, and it brought me back to literally being a newborn baby. And I have never had that experience before of being brought back to that, whether it was a true memory or not, or just, a representation of like being held in, it was my father's hands. And I lost my father 5 years ago. So to have that experience was very, very special. And like, I came out of it thinking like, we all go back to love. So like, he's passed away, but he just transformed. I felt him nonstop since he passed away. And I know for that reason that when people leave this earth, their energy just transforms. It can't be destroyed. So it just turns into something different. And through this breathwork ceremony, it was made clear that when we leave, we are transformed back to love. And the message in it was, don't wait until you die to come back to love. And so I felt like what I was left with was just love. Like everything that was not of that frequency left my body. That's the only way I can describe it. And I know that sounds crazy. And that's not to say that I'm only ever going to have like loving feelings, or like I'm only ever going to love people and myself and like not have bad moments or like more negative feelings that come up. But it means that like, that's my home, like love is my home. And I feel like that's what we're all called back to, is just to love ourselves, to love people, to love our creator, like whatever your belief is, whether that's God, the universe, like source energy. I don't care what you call it. Someone would be crazy to think or to believe that there's no divine energy that created this world in its divine creation. Like everything is just made. Like right now, there's so many things in my body that are happening without me even thinking about it. Like you're breathing right now, you're digesting, you're healing. Like your brain is literally wiring new neurons together. Like it's amazing how intricately we were created. So to think that there is not a divine energy behind that is just crazy to me, but believe what you want. And I'm going somewhere with this. There's a point. So after this breathwork ceremony, I felt lighter. I felt like, wow, that was such a beautiful experience. And then exactly 1 month to the day of doing that breathwork ceremony, my body, it expelled a cyst. I don't really know how to say it in like delicate terms, but I have had a cyst since I was a teenager. I'm in my 30s now, so you can do the math. It was benign. It had no symptoms. So as long as it wasn't painful, the doctor basically told me it's your choice whether to get it removed or not. And so I didn't really want surgery. I've never had surgery before. So I chose to not have it removed. And then 1 month after this ceremony, like it has gone on, it's become a part of me. Literally, like people will say like, oh, what's that bump on your back? And I'm like, it's just my cyst. Like to me, it's just a part of me. So 1 month to the day after this breathwork ceremony, my body basically just decided after literally decades, I don't want to live here anymore. And it was one of the most painful, if not the most painful experience. Like I've thankfully been very healthy throughout my life for the most part. So pain is relative to what I've experienced, but it was the worst pain that I can remember experiencing. My skin basically it got red, inflamed, it got so big, and like my skin basically just like burst open. Long story short, I had to go to emergency to have it removed. Keeping in mind, this is exactly 1 month after the breathwork ceremony. Like I don't believe that is coincidence. And I actually just looked at my lab results this morning. It happened on 7/7, so July 7th at 3:33 a.m. Like, if you're into angel numbers, come on. So all of this to say, like I swear I'm going somewhere with this. I love to think that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. So I believe that the things that happen to us aren't happening by accident. They're happening to show us something. And that week where the cyst started to kind of build and break open and get infected, I had 4 or 5 different things that like I'm very grateful to say like most things in my life go really well. Good things happen and things just are really smooth. So when things start going wrong or like there's obstacles or challenges, that's when you got to pay attention, like 4 or 5 different things within that week started happening. And I didn't really put the pieces together until afterwards, until I had this removed. And I was like, oh, looking back, that was trying to show me like to pay attention, to pay attention, to pay attention. And I wasn't getting it and things kept happening. And then I finally got to emergency and had this removed. And even though it was so painful, I knew it was this physical representation of like everything that was toxic in me, like this old trauma, this past self, this old identity that I was letting go of. Because of that, because I found purpose in it, I'm not going to go so far to say that I enjoyed the experience, but it gave it purpose. Therefore, I was able to endure it a lot easier than if it was just like, oh, this is like this gross thing that's happening to me, So in that, I was like, wow, my body is literally giving me a physical representation of letting go of my old identity. Like I keep looking at it in the mirror and like I'm used to seeing a bump there. So right now there's a little bit of an open wound, but it's being taken care of. It's healing. But I'm used to seeing a bump there. It's been a part of me for as long as I can remember. And so looking at this in the mirror, I'm like, I don't see a bump there anymore. And in my mind, I'm like, it's so weird in a way, like I'm grieving this like part of me. And it sounds so weird because like who wants a cyst? Like I don't want it, but it's been a part of me for so long that like I almost have to grieve this part of me. And that is such a beautiful representation to loop this back around of how we hold on to our identities as if it was optional, when really we need to cut it off. We need to fully remove it. Like there's no way I would go back to the doctor and be like, can you actually just put that back in me? Like I need it. I can't let go of it, but that's what we do with our identity. That's what we do with our habits. And like, I don't want to brush it off like it's just so easy and like you should be able to let go, because I am exhibit A of knowing how hard it is to create habit change. Like I probably started my journey like 5 years ago and I still struggle. Like I've come so far, but like I still struggle at times. And I'm not diminishing the journey at all, because it is really, really hard. And that's why most people don't do it. But I can say, I don't even want to say on the other side, because like, when do you really arrive at the destination, right? But when you're in it, when you're actually seeing the transformation happen, it's so worth it. And so just like this cyst was removed from me, I'm letting go of the trauma. I no longer have this thing that's like been a part of me for so long. This like toxic, Like really, when you think about it, it's kind of just like toxicity, like sitting in there. That's the old identity you're letting go of. We have to treat our change in identity as non-negotiable. The journey's not going to be perfect, but in your mind, you have to solidify it so much as like, I am physically removing this. I'm throwing it in like the toxic garbage and it's gone. I'm not going back to it. And there's a grieving process in that because it's been familiar, you know. And my mom is calling right now, so we're just going to keep going. Where was I with that? You have to grieve this part of you. Like it's been a part of you for so long. It's been familiar, even if it hasn't been what you want. Like I know a lot of time in my habit change, I can say in my mind, I don't know why I keep doing this habit over and over again. I know in my mind, I don't want it. I don't want to do it, but I keep doing it because it's familiar, because it's comfortable. So that's the part of you have to grieve because it's been with you for so long. It is familiar to you, and that's going to feel uncomfortable to let go of. But like this cyst that was physically removed from my body, it's gone. It's gone forever, and you're not going back to it because it's not serving you. I feel honestly like during that week, it was benign for like most of my life, but during that week, like it got infected, it got painful, it was very, very angry. And so that was like this, again, physical manifestation of how letting go can be painful. And it's not necessarily easy, but on the other side of it, it is worth it. During the surgery, I had local anesthetic, so I couldn't really feel it. I could feel kind of like, I couldn't feel pain, I'll say that, but I could feel kind of like resistance. I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I was scared. And again, physical manifestation of letting go. It's scary to let go of your old identity. It's scary to let go of who you were, who's familiar to you, and to step into the unknown. That's very scary. And so on this surgery table, or I don't know what you call it, doctor table. I have no idea what it's called. Anyways, I was laying there. He was pulling this out of my back. And I felt the resistance and my body was tense because I was scared and I just wanted to distract myself. I was like wiggling my toes. I don't even know if I was making noise or not, but my body was tense. I remember feeling that. And then I also remember in this breathwork ceremony, I remember the theme is kind of like you have to surrender in order to let go. And in my mind, I kept replaying that mantra. I was like, okay, in order to let go, you have to surrender. And so my body was tense. I was holding on. And it's not like I wanted to hold on to the cyst, but I was tense because I was scared, right? So that creates resistance. You're holding it all in, right? So in my mind, I was repeating this mantra and slowly I let my muscles relax. It was no time before my muscles relaxed. That's when it was finally finished. Like the surgery was finally complete. And I don't think that's a coincidence, but I truly believe that it was this representation showing me, like, having me experience. I learn best through experience. And so I feel like this is God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, giving me this gift of what that means to truly let go. Because now I've experienced it physically and I can apply it so much better now that I've experienced that. So in order to let go, you have to surrender. You have to throw your old identity in the garbage. In the past, I've been scared to share my story. I've been scared to share to speak on YouTube, to put this out there into the world, because it's really scary to put yourself out there in fear of judgment, failure, rejection, all of the above, things that I have had past trauma from. And so just like this letting go, it's like, that's not me anymore. That trauma's gone. I'm letting go of it. Is it scary to put this out there? Yes. But what's even scarier, I guess, and more important to me is this not reaching the people that need to hear it and changing lives. I know my story. I truly believe that my story, I didn't go through the things. And I mean, I'm talking in my life. I didn't go through those things. We don't go through those things. The things that we do for nothing. We are meant to help other people. And I cannot live with going through what I did and overcoming what I did and not helping other people from it. So I truly want to create this space of community, of lifting each other up, of sharing my story and hearing from you guys and helping you overcome those obstacles that are keeping you from who you're meant to be. So if this resonated with you, comment letting go of the old me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.